Mario Carver might be one of the fastest offensive weapons in this college football season. Four-star recruit out of Alabama, helped lead Clay Clarkville to back-to-back state champions, flashed immediately at Mississippi State as a true freshman, then transferred to Texas A&M and became one of the most explosive slot receivers in the SEC. 2025 caught 59 passes for 917 yards, 4 touchdowns, and opened the year with three straight 100-yard games. Absolutely shredded Notre Dame in South Bend for 7 catches, 207 yards, and an 86-yard touchdown. The juice is rare. The acceleration is rare. The yak ability is real. But the evaluation is not simple. He's only 165 pounds. The blocking is a problem. Press length can erase him outside, and all 4 touchdowns came early in the season. So today, we're breaking down why Mario Carver is my wide receiver 7, why the speed is special, and why his NFL future depends on becoming more than just a manufactured touch weapon. But before we get into it, make sure you hit the like button, follow, subscribe, and do all the wonderful YouTube things, because we're going to keep putting in this work on our way to over 100 prospects before college football kicks off. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Draft Yoda, where we're data-driven and prospect-focused. We are breaking down Mario Carver from Texas A&M, currently holding an 8.83 out of 10, making him my number 67 player overall on wide receiver 7 going into college football this year. This one is most explosive receiver evaluations on the board. Mario Carver does not need much space to change a game. Three steps are different. His acceleration is different. The ability to separate early in a route is amazing. And once the ball is in his hands, he gets to a top speed fast enough to turn normal touches into explosive plays. That's the case for him. But the concerns are just as clear. He is small by NFL standards. The play strength is limited. The blocking is a real issue. Press length outside is a problem. And after a huge early season scoring burst, the touchdown production disappeared. Mario Carver came out of Clay Clarkville High School in Birmingham, Alabama. And before he even got to college, he was already a big weapon. Helped lead them to back-to-back 6A state championships in Alabama. As a senior, put up over 1,000-yard receiving and 15 touchdowns. That's real production. Not just a fast player running track in pads, not just a gadget athlete. He was a legitimate receiver on championship team. He also ran track and was clocked at a 10.74 on 100 meters. That matters because the speed showed up on tape. Sometimes track speed doesn't translate to football speed. With Carver, it does. You see it in the releases. You see it after the catch. You see it when he eats cushion. And you see it when defensive backs take one bad angle, and suddenly the play is over. 4-star recruit, when he was selected to the All-American, Under Armour All-American Bowl, and it's a kind of resume that tells you that the speed is not a secret. Started at Mississippi State and he flashed as a true freshman. Played 9 games, caught 17 passes for 368 yards and 3 touchdowns, averaged 21.6 yards per catch. That number jumps off the page. A freshman, true freshman, over 20 yards per reception in the SEC. That is real production. He also had a 2-touchdown debut, which immediately showed the big playability. That freshman year was uneven. He missed 3 games because of injury. He also had 1 game where he was on a team suspension. The resume was not perfectly clean, but the flashes were obvious. The speed played, the explosiveness played, the vertical ability played. And he hit the transfer portal and ended up at Texas A&M. Joined the Aggies offense, who also had Casey Concepcion, giving Texas A&M multiple players who could stress the defenses in space. Players like Carver can become more dangerous when the defense has to worry about more than one weapon. If the defense rolls coverage towards one guy, the other guy wins. If the defense plays too much man, Carver separates quickly. If the defense plays too soft, Texas A&M manufactures touches. And during the Aggies' 2025 college football playoff run, Carver became a key piece to the offense. 59 receptions, 917 yards, 4 touchdowns. The Litnikoff Award preseason watch list going into 2026. It's a major step forward from his freshman year of just flashes at Mississippi State. You know, the Notre Dame game is a showstopper for him. 7 catches, 207 yards, one of those being an 86-yard touchdown in South Bend. That is a game everyone is going to watch. When you are evaluating small receivers, you need to see impact against real opponents in a real environment. And Carver gave you that. He did not just have a good game. He flipped the field. He changed the game. He showed what happens when he gets space and when the defenses lose leverage against him. 86-yard score is a type of play that explains the entire profile. One mistake, one bad angle, one missed leverage point, and Carver is gone. And that's why he's so dangerous. Some of the things that are going to jump out to you. The first step. Carver's first 3 steps are absolutely rare. It's the foundation for the evaluation. Some receivers are build speed. Carver creates separation immediately. That matters in the slot because slot releases happen quickly. You don't always have time to work through long, complicated releases. You need to win, and you need to win now. You need to beat leverage now. You need to cross the defender's face now. And Carver does that. He can get to the top of defenders before they're even ready. He can force them to open their hips, and he can create instant stress. His acceleration after the catch is phenomenal. Carver produced nearly 10 yards per reception after the ball arrived. That's outstanding. It tells you exactly what kind of weapon he is. You do not just throw him the ball because he can catch it. You throw him the ball because something can happen after he catches it. Screens, crosses, option routes, jet motions, slot fades, deep overs, quick touches. When the ball gets to Carver in space, the defense has a problem. He reaches top speed so quickly that pursuit angles disappear. The angle you thought was right was wrong. The slot release package that Carver has is clean and immediate. He beats leverage before corners can land hands on him. That's important because of his size. He can't afford to get caught. If bigger defenders get their hands on him, the rep can die. So he has to win with quickness, he has to win with suddenness, and he has to win before contact. And from the slot, he does that at a very high level. Texas A&M understood this. They moved him around pre-snap. They helped him avoid getting pinned outside, and they gave him access to space. And once he had that access, he became a major problem. For the vertical slot value, by the way, he's not just an underneath gadget player. He can threaten vertically from inside. That matters because vertical slot receivers stress defenses differently. A boundary speed receiver can stretch the sideline. A vertical slot receiver threatens the middle of the field and forces safeties to make decisions. If the safety widens, the seam opens. If the safety stays flat-footed, Carver runs past them. Linebackers try to carry him. It's a mismatch. That's why his alignment matters. Slot only is not a negative if a player can win like this. Slot only can be a weapon, especially when you have reliable hands. For a smaller receiver, Carver has to have reliable hands. 59 passes, with 59 pass catches with very few mistakes. That matters because speed receivers can sometimes be frustrating. They can separate, they can be explosive, but they fight the ball. Carver does not have that issue in a major way. He can be trusted to finish routine throws. He can handle volume and he can catch on the move. Um, there are some concerns. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's ever going to be perfect. First concern is his size. 165 pounds is tiny by NFL standards. There's no other way around it. At that size, every contact point matters. Every hit matters. Every press rep matters. Every block assignment matters. Every contested catch becomes harder. The NFL is bigger, stronger, and much more physical. Defensive backs are going to test him. Linebackers are going to hit him. Safeties are going to try to punish him over the middle. And the question is, can his body hold up? The speed's good enough, but the size is a concern. Another concern is press length outside. He's not going to project as a full-time outside receiver for a lot of schemes. Long corners can erase him if they get their hands on him. And that's why he projects as a slot. He needs free access. He needs motion. He needs stacked releases. He needs space to operate. And that's not a bad thing, but it narrows the role considerably. You're not drafting him as a traditional X receiver. You're drafting him to be a vertical slot, a motion weapon, a space creator, a manufactured touch problem. That role has value, but the offense has to know what it's getting into. Another concern is the fade in touchdown production. All 4 of his touchdowns came by the Notre Dame trip in September. After that, he didn't find the end zone. That matters. Early in the season, he looked like he might be one of the most explosive touchdown threats in the country. Then defenses adjusted. The SEC defenses started committing more safety help to the slot, and the scoring dried up. It didn't erase the production. He still had a good year, but it raises a question. Can he create explosive touchdowns once defenses build a plan around taking him away? Luckily, he has 2026 to answer that. He also has 2026 to answer his blocking concern, and it's a clear liability. At 165 pounds, I'm not surprised that his blocking is so poor, but it matters. Perimeter runs are a big part of modern offenses. Screens are a big part of modern offenses. RPOs are a big part of modern offenses. If a slot receiver can't block, coordinators have to scheme around it. They have to protect him. They have to be careful of the formation. They have to avoid putting him in a situation where he could get blown up and ruin the play. Carver doesn't need to become a dominant blocker. That's not realistic for him. But he needs to become functional at least. He has to fight. He has to get position. And he has to survive enough for the offense so that they're not tipping plays with him on the field. Durability and trust are going to be things that he needs to prove as well. Freshman season at Mississippi State ended unevenly. Missed time because of an injury. Had 1 game team suspension. It was a positive that he played a bigger role at Texas A&M, but NFL teams are going to ask about the availability, consistency, and the professionalism. Smaller receivers, durability gets discussed more. It's just a reality. It's easy. It's an easy one to solve. 2026, play the full year. Produce every month, stay available, stay consistent, and show teams that you can handle a role, especially a featured one in that. 2026, the checklist is pretty clear. Keep the explosive plays coming. Score after September. Handle the added defensive attention. Improve functional play strength. Become less of a blocking liability and stay healthy. If you can prove you're a consistent weapon, even when defenses know who he is as a speed player, You're on the Balishnikov preseason watch list for a reason. Defenses are not going to be surprised anymore. They know you can run. They know you can break games open, and they know Texas A&M wants to get you the ball. If you're Carver, he has to prove he can still win when defenses start with him on the scouting report. That's the next step for him. Currently sitting at an 8.83 out of 10. Wide receiver number 7, number 67 overall. Going into this college football season, he is explosive. There's no doubt about it. But the blocking is a liability. Contested catch value is limited. The press length forces him into a slot-only projection. And he needs to score after September. If he can do any of that, if he does all of it, the sky's the limit. NFL teams love explosive plays, especially offensive wide receivers who can break one anytime they touch the ball. That's me. That's my board. What do you think about Mario Craver? Is he one of the most explosive receivers in college football? Can 165-pound slot receiver hold up at the next level? How much true game-breaking speed matter with a frame this small? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you've enjoyed these player profiles, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, follow along, because we're on the pace for over 100, and we're darn sure going to get there. As always, I'm Draft Yoda, Bill Workman, your favorite draft nerd's favorite draft nerd, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.